Welcome back, everyone. Um, as I mentioned, I'm going to start doing more of these, not just conversations with guests and whatever topics come up. There is a period of time I'm going to do a series, just myself. And as I mentioned in the last one, for those who didn't see it, I'll just remind you: this is not as comfortable a thing as dialoguing with someone, seeing someone on the other side of the screen. So what I'm doing right here is becoming aware that I'm a little nervous about that, and I'm aware of that feeling, but I'm also not that feeling, and that's what this conversation here is going to be about. We are awareness, each of us. We are not our thoughts and not our feelings. And while you may have heard that before, you've heard me say it, maybe you've even said it yourself, I'm going to unpack that a little bit as to what that really means and what we can do about that for ourselves. And what I mean by that is we have an amazing amount of moments throughout our lives where this comes up time and time again. At least it does for me. And I think for many of you, it probably feels the same way. You've understood yourself enough where you can stay fairly calm, be in a place of gratitude or even love or kindness. And then there's moments where something occurs, you are surprised by something or just something not predictable. You didn't expect someone to say a certain thing and just right there, you have some feeling or thought that you've got to do something with. And it is true. You have to do something with it. You have to let it go. So let's talk a little bit about why we are not thoughts. Thoughts can be cars passing by on a street. They come into your line of sight. They're right in front of you, and then they pass on. Same thing like water through a stream, wind blowing by you. There's a start and a point where they're with you, and then they're gone. And why I say, and I think is very accurate, we are not our thoughts, is because they can come and they can go. It's all about your perspective on what you're feeling. The thought of fear on a roller coaster for someone can be a thought of elation on a roller coaster for someone else. So there's something I've found extremely valuable when helping manage through thoughts. And I want to share this here, and maybe it'll help you too. If you're in a conversation and it's a conversation that's more difficult for you, and there might be reasons. I mean, the underlying reasons we're not going to get to in this episode, but I do want to talk more about those because the initial thought you have is typically not what really is the cause of whatever you're feeling. But setting that to the side, say you feel a thought of you are angry or upset or something in that realm. If you can pause for a moment, and it's really only a split second in real time. It's not like it takes you a long time here internally. Either aloud or to yourself. If you're in a conversation with someone else, probably say it to yourself. I'm aware of feeling angry. And as quickly as you can say that, it helps pause you for a moment. And I know that may seem silly, it may seem very, very simplified, but in my experience, and I think in others, as you start to work with that and remind yourself that you are aware of something, well, you are the awareness. So that's what you really are. That's what I really am. If you are aware of fear, well, then you aren't that fear. You're aware of it. You're aware that it's passing through, your body or your conscience or whatever you like. But that really separates, in the healthy way, your thoughts from your awareness of them. And when you give yourself that little bit of a space you start to feel lighter. You're going to start to feel more at peace. Now, there's many moments in the day where this may happen, but over time, I've found, and I'd love for you to consider for yourself, you begin to feel much more free and at peace over time, understanding that those thoughts are really not you. You're aware of those thoughts. Something's happening. And there's a really good distinction that I want to draw apart here while we're talking about it. To say you're not your thoughts and you're not your feelings, it doesn't mean you're pushing down what those feelings or thoughts are. You allow them to come up as they will. But the thing that you aren't doing is you're not clinging and holding on to them. And I've done this very much in my life where you were feeling, like you need to be very prepared for the future. You've got to have, spreadsheets and all types of timelines. And here's what I'm going to do at this point and this point and all that. And while it's good to, consider some, preparedness for the future, there's a level at which if that's all you're thinking about, you think that's what defines you. I'm speaking about me. You think what defines you is what you're going to do next or what you're going to do in the future, the successes you're going to have and all those kinds of things. Well, what I'm really doing, or any of us that are doing that, we're robbing ourselves of the actual moment, the only moment that matters, which is now. Meaning what you're doing now is going to help whatever happens in the future. So if you practice being aware of what those feelings are, I'm feeling like I need to be prepared for the future. If you just give yourself those spaces, simple as that might be, it starts to help your own being understand that you're that awareness. And I've heard about this concept, read about it for quite a bit of time, and it didn't quite become as effective or really hit home for me as it has the last several weeks, and certainly this week. And so I wanted to start talking about it. So as I'm working through this, others who might be in a similar place or well beyond or just getting started can start considering this for themselves too, or more so. The understanding that we are aware of feelings that pass through us is helping then release those feelings as well. And whether it's fear or anger, of course, those are ones that we really want to let go of, not suppress or cling to. But there's also a flip side of that. Even when we feel joy or when we feel gratitude or anything else, we allow each and every feeling to pass through us as awareness. And think about this as the wind blowing through a tree. Some of that wind is cold, some of that wind is warm. We could debate about whether trees have feelings, but my point is the tree is aware that there's wind that comes through it, and it doesn't try to hold on to it. It doesn't try to cling to it or anything else. It just has it pass through it, and it is what it is. It's really the same concept that I'm trying to talk upon here. All the feelings of every day come through you and they leave. And some of you might say, well, but why shouldn't we want to feel joy and hold on to it? And those are things I really, really want to keep close to me. They sustain me. They help me get through the really hard days that happen. Believe me, I do understand that. But let's think about this in a different way. So say if we walk through that, so we have all these feelings coming through, and the ones that feel, quote, bad, that we try and let go of, and the ones that feel good, we want to hold on to. Well, what we're doing is not allowing those feelings to pass through us to make room for other feelings that may come. If you almost think of it as you're removing your potential that's coming from the future moment because you're really wanting to hold on to this right now. And really what I think we're talking about is the fear of change. Things are good sometimes, things are not so good sometimes. But in the cycles of life and just how things works, that moves in a rhythm. And as you allow yourself to experience, you are being the awareness of these feelings. And as they all move through you and more come through you, it becomes a lot more of a flow than all right, which ones do I want to hold in my basket and which ones do I want to let go? If you allow that flow to occur, there is just an underlying peace that even comes from that. And I don't mean the feeling of peace, just within your being, within your awareness. You start to become very understanding that things come and go, and that you as the awareness are at peace within yourself. And I know perhaps these words don't quite land for you yet, or maybe they don't work for you at all, or for others of you who are feeling like I'm feeling, kind of have a little bit of chills right now, kind of talking through it because it resonates. I encourage all of you to take time for yourself and think through some of these concepts, whether you listen, to me, watch me often, or for yourself. As we understand that we are all awareness and that thoughts come and go, that allows for the potential of more to move through us. Change is something that is a constant in life, and change can feel really scary, but is not really scary. We are the awareness of all of that. And I want to thank you all for listening and kind of walking through this journey with me. This is a journey that I'm taking myself, and I'm grateful to share it with all of you. We'll see what the topic is next time. I appreciate you all. Have a good day.